You know, I'm probably going to have to turn on the adult checkbox on Twitch just for what I keep naming these videos. But that's okay. You can pass over this exact video. I mean, Ichigo's streaming right now. What are you doing here? It's like right now. Right now. This is actually happening right now. And you're here. And I don't understand that. You're still here. Go watch Ichigo. This is like one of my favorite indie ones. And yeah, it's a good one to just relax to. Sit there playing a game with the sound off and listening to some Ichigo. The absolute calmest voice on the internet. Like, I don't know if I've ever actually heard a yell come out of Ichigo, but it would. I mean, I might have a heart attack. It's just the absolute like. You're like watching her play Pal World with her friends, and they're all screaming, and she just got this soft voice. But yeah, Ichigo's awesome. So go away, go Ichigo it up right now. And yeah, that was my plan for the moment of Muppy. And also I switched what monitor I'm looking at, so now my entire movement here is messed up. So I have to like turn back and remember that this is the screen that I need to be viewing now. I guess I think it's working a little better if I could just remember not to like get into my habit of looking over this way, and then I just have this terminal frown on my face because it's like, oh, I'm doing the wrong thing, so I should frown. But I've got this weird setup where my camera is on the monitor I'm looking at now, and the monitor that I turn to, the camera would be too high up. It sits much higher. For some reason, I bought a what is it, a 1440 monitor, and I like the screen, but I think I probably should have gone 4K, just to keep things sized down a little bit. I don't think... I mean, I have things to complain about, but I don't think I have anything specific to complain about today. So I went out looking, and I just happened to see that Ichigo was back from a trip to America, wherein she was eating lots of hamburgers. And so I had to jump on the channel there for a minute and send a little gift. And yeah, it was... I almost ended up just watching that instead of doing what I meant to do, which is this. And now that I'm here, I'm like, why am I doing this? I should also be watching more Ichigo. But work is work, and this is not work. There are some for whom it is work. God bless them. God bless their little worky somethings. I am not one of them. I'm boring. Anyway. I don't know how I don't know how to close out of this. I was trying to figure out how to set... So, I have yet to sit down and read any of the tutorials for this stuff. Like, I don't really know anything more than what I needed to set up everything that I've regularly been doing. And every time I think, I should change the size... Or, like at one point... I tried to do a full screen of the game without the overlay that is behind me, and it didn't pan out. I couldn't figure it out, and I was like, I need to watch a tutorial, or I need to read something about OBS to figure this out, and I forgot to do it, and then so the next time I went to do it, I had messed everything up, and I had to skip doing something until the next day, which I don't have a lot of time day to day, so... So I just haven't been able to sit down and figure this out. But it's really funny, all the stuff that, like, goes wrong out of nowhere. Like, for instance, I set up a hotkey. Now, the hotkey says that it'll capture the foreground window. That only seems to work if you can manage to put it in full screen. So I couldn't find anything that would display an image in order to put Ichigo's info up here so that I could do this. Like none of the photo viewing software would work. And so I ended up just opening it up in Paint, and I looked in Paint, and there was no way to Alt-Enter it into a full screen, but you could press F11. And then it was weird, because I did that, and the hotkey worked. And then I think I right-clicked on it, and the full screen went away, and it went back to the normal screen. But the thing that the full screen was displaying has now stayed up. So there's nothing to close. There's no way for me to close this without closing Paint itself. So I think I need to figure out like a slideshow program or something. I've seen a lot of people do interesting things with... Actually, the couple of minutes that I was watching Ichigo, she has a chalkboard background. She was teaching a German word of the day, and she had it set up so where it types out in a chalk-like font, and it seems to just take regular old ASCII input, because at one point the word translated to touch in English, and when she went to write touch, it wrote the Japanese hiragana for toe, and so she had to delete it real quick and switch over to English, which I know how that goes. I type a lot of things in Japanese, and so I've just got a button down here that I can use to do it. But if you forget it's there and you go to type things, you'll look up and be like, oh, wait a minute. I've got like a couple of letters inserted between a bunch of Japanese characters. But yeah, there's definitely programs out there I can use for that. And I got to figure out how to get all that rolling, because the intention was never to just play games, and that's what it turned into. It was an excuse to play games, though, which is always nice. I'm still looking at the monitor. It makes me look like I need my glasses back on. Maybe that's the trick. Maybe I just need to... There we go. Okay, I'm going to try and remember now. But there is not much more... I am sure he said, semi-sarcastically, that Ichigo would be very glad to know that I... What's the word I'm looking for? I gave her props in a stream called Straight Outta Your Mom, so I probably should have thought that one through better. But yeah, she visited TwitchCon, which was funny because I kept seeing her pop up on Twitter talking about eating different hamburgers in America, and I didn't know why she was actually in America until I looked at the stream, and it was like, oh, she came back from TwitchCon, and now she's giving the recap. Okay. So yeah, this might actually be closer to the original idea for Moments of Muppy, because I'm out of ideas. I have nothing else to say. I'll end up devolving into a discussion of the importance of capitalism or modern CEOs and how terrible they are. If you can call them CEOs, like what do they even do? Here I go. The modern CEO is just this vessel for the board to fill with all the things that they can be blamed for, in order to screw the shareholders, who are like the most important people in this, who are also idiots themselves, because they never care about the long-term asset value of what they're holding. They only care about the immediate quarterly value so that they can buy a new boat every quarter, when in fact they could be 10 times as rich if they would just not worry about the short-term consequences and worry about the long-term consequences of the company they're investing in. Every single shareholder that lacks the ability to do that would make a terrible businessman, just like every single CEO in the modern, especially the S&P 500. Good guy. Oh, I'm saying all of this with Ichigo's face up there. I will be viewed less as a fan and more as a mortal enemy for this. But like I said, I can't figure out how to turn this off, so... yes. Anyway. If you are a shareholder in a company, you want a CEO who will tell the board, no, we want to make money by the end of the year, not the end of the quarter. Because all of our tricks for making money by the end of the quarter short us for staff, which ends up hurting us down the road, maybe next quarter, maybe 3 quarters from now, maybe 2 years from now, maybe 10 years from now. But it always happens. Muppy babuppy. Hello, Atomic. I chose Atomic this time. That way I didn't dox your full name, which is readily displayed for anyone looking at this. I think I fixed my chat thing. You lost a follower. You didn't prop them up on your page and start talking about the horrors of CEOs and stockholders, did you? Because I've got one of my favorite indie VTubers to follow up here right now. That's what I just said, isn't it? We were talking about quarterly... oh, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Yeah. Bit harder to hold stock in that. So which period was it? Was it the Mesozoic? There was definitely some bloodshed in the Mesozoic era. How did it go? Was it Triassic, Jurassic, Cretaceous? I think that's the order. Yeah, so the Cretaceous had a lot of like armored vegetarian herbivore dinosaurs. But there were also a lot of giant predators at the time. So that could be what you're talking about right now. Alternately, you could be talking about cycles. Yeah, well, I'm just putting it out there that maybe there were cycles involved. Like maybe someone fell off their motorcycle and scraped themselves up pretty badly. Or maybe it was a bicycle accident. I've known a few people in bicycle accidents. I mean, nothing horrendous, but... except maybe that one where the seat popped off, but we don't usually talk about that one in polite company. Boy, it's a good thing you showed up to interrupt me from my CEO rant. Because I was running out of fuel fast. Possibly like so... but... Thank you very much. Yeah, I could see people getting upset with me very quickly, raging out at me like they're on some kind of premenstrual cycle or something. Talk about the downfall of the gaming industry for 40 minutes? I can't do that. I have obligations that I have to meet today. But the gaming industry is not necessarily in a downfall. It has potential to be in a downfall, much like the rest of society. But as far as things go, it's in one of the better shapes than most industries. Because the people at the top are absolutely desperate to speedrun themselves into oblivion. And I don't mean Elder Scrolls Oblivion, which will probably get a crappy remake at some point when Microsoft wants more money. However, the downfall of gaming, let's see, where can we begin? So gaming... I don't know that much anymore because I stopped following Ubisoft because it was just like, everything they do is going to be dumb. There's just no recovering from that. I have no interest in buying anything from Ubisoft anymore. They're just like, we're going to release an awesome game. We're going to make everyone hate the game before the game comes out. It's like, I mean, does someone from Ubisoft sit on the board of Disney or something? Is that just what the... It's utterly ridiculous. All that's going to happen is these AAA companies are going to end up destroying themselves. Because the Marxists of now are not the Marxists of yesteryear, where they actually understood that they had to capture the hearts and minds of the people to They made merchandise about the new AC game in Japan with the memorial. Zero class Ubisoft. It's kind of like how there used to be that website, the worst thing on the internet, and it was Yakety Sax playing over scenes from some movie where they showed the bombing of Hiroshima. And that was the whole website. It was just like that and some footage. I don't know if it still exists, but what a website. Like how could you not market that? But yeah, Assassin's Creed, let's see. I don't know what it is about Japan that these gaming companies don't like anymore. I mean, I have a few issues with some of the things that happen in Japan, but for the most part, I am not quite a Japanophile, but I love the music from Japan. I basically don't listen to anything else. I love anime, of course, although most of what I'm watching is 2010 and previous, because they've kind of lost their way to the influx of isekai slop. There's been some good stuff, too. I mean, Saga of Tanya the Evil is one of the most wonderful things I've ever watched. And bonus, because it's just hated by so many people because it quote-unquote looks Nazi-ish. And the books are even better, of course. A lot of good books in Japan. Unfortunately, they are largely, what's the word I'm looking for? Light novels for a younger audience. So even though they're still good, it doesn't quite hit my, I want a full, like, not adult, I'm using adult wrong here, not adult novel, but like a novel that's a bit more, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for here? Not deep. Some of those light novels get pretty deep. Mature, maybe? Yeah, that is actually exactly what I meant to say. Because one of the problems I have, I think I mentioned this in a previous dealing with moms. I mean Moments of Muppy. They have old anime that you watched when you were a teenager, and you felt like most of the people in it were more mature than you. And then you watch the stuff now, and it's like, if I was a teenager, I would feel like all these people are less mature than me. And they're all very flighty. I mean, there were a lot of... I know that a lot of old anime was, like, really out there, like, really crazy stuff going on, but a lot of the characters were kind of down to earth in the way they dealt with it. And in modern anime, you kind of get the repetition of the same themes in every character, which is why when you have a really good one like Saga of Tanya the Evil, the character stands out so much. And don't get me wrong, Tanya is a great character in that show, but this was like normal kind of characterization back in the 90s. It's just got the benefit of having a really good animation and a good supporting cast to it. I mean, let's be fair here. Back in the 90s, a lot of the times, there were good stories. Some of them were thin, and some of them were thin on purpose because they just wanted you to enjoy the animation and get through sometimes a basic or slightly better than basic story with some characters that they kind of endear to you, and that makes for a good story too. There were a lot of them in the 90s that were just like, all right, here's this really thin story idea we got, let's just make something with it. And it still had cool stuff in it, but you wouldn't exactly sit there and try to convince people it was great because of its story. And then some of them are great, because they're a combination of both good and bad. Like the original Vampire Hunter D cut out so much from the book that if you read the book first, you might not have liked it as much. I thought it was a great movie, and it covered a lot of stuff, and it didn't explain some of the things that I would have liked it to explain back in the day. But it got a lot like more in depth in the book, to the point that when you read the book, you're like, oh, this would have made a better movie, and it probably wouldn't have needed much to be changed. So there's also a lot going on in the 90s where it's hand-drawn stuff, and there's time limits to how much you can get done and how much you can cram in. So, that's a thing to consider too. I'm willing to bet that process is a lot easier and faster these days because everything is digital. Yeah, One Piece is still being made. That started in 1998? I'm not even sure. The comic might have started before that. I believe the anime started around then. So, like, a lot of the people that are into it now weren't even born when it came out. But I guess the same could be said. Like, I can't remember when Dragon Ball started, but it might have been before I was born. So I would have been doing the same thing. Yeah, One Piece is bonkers. I only made it to episode 300, and then I tapped out. But, great fight scenes. And I really liked how it started, where they actually, you know, anyone that got through Dragon Ball Z might have had that feeling that, oh, you know, it's cool and all, but Goku's always the one that saves everyone, and, you know, even when the other characters get a cool moment, they're usually shot down pretty quickly after that so that Goku has to come and save the day. And, you know, a lot of the characters that I really liked, like Piccolo and Vegeta. Vegeta's my favorite Dragon Ball Z character. He had, like, the Majin Buu moment that was really cool. And, you know, he had his moments, but he always had to relinquish the final battle to Goku. They tried to change some of that in Super. I didn't get into Super that much, though. I felt like it was watered down DBZ. But it was still kind of cool. And it was neat that One Piece started with, like, you know, the first big bad guy that they fought, Zoro was the one that beat him. You know, Luffy rescues Zoro, and Zoro immediately takes out the bad guy. And that didn't really change too much. I think one of the problems it did have was that in order to make sure that some of the side characters from Luffy also got their own moments, they had to give everyone someone to fight, which isn't necessarily the best way to do it, but it worked really well for One Piece. I mean, it might have dragged it out an extra 700 episodes, but it worked. You know, personally, I think it might have worked a little better if occasionally the big bad guy was just someone that everyone fought, and there was one character that, you know, had the big moment each time. But that's kind of a Shonen Jump thing. You gotta let the main character do his thing. Yeah, I don't know how many episodes there are for One Piece now, but is it past 1,500 yet? It's got to be getting past 1,500. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 2,000. I do not have the energy to get caught up. I don't even think I have the energy to read the comic, but you know, I'm not very big on comics anyway. Yeah, and then there's Naruto, which I've seen 2 episodes of. I watched the first episode, and the first episode was the second episode that I watched. The very first episode I watched was the one where, oh geez, what's the guy that looks like my brother? The guy in the green sweatsuit that does taijutsu and can't really do the ninja magic. When he fought Gaara, that was the first episode I saw, and a lot of people told me that might have been the peak episode to see anyway. Yeah, Rock Lee. My brother used to look exactly like Rock Lee. Let's see. Fan of the Halo video game? Of course I am. Oh my god, it's like it was like the second biggest, like, no, it might have been the biggest, like video game thing that I did with my friends. Not Halo itself, but Halo got us jump-started on it, and then Halo 2 came out, and every weekend was like, hey guys, let's get together and play Halo 2. A cool fan animation. Look up Sodaz Halo. Sodas? Am I pronouncing it right? Soda. Hey, let's go get some soda, eh? Welcome to Michigan, folks. Things pop off when soda's involved. Wait, pop off is vodka. Never mind. Yeah, I'll check it out. Hopefully I remember this time. You told me to check something out last time, and I completely forgot. Also, if you're wondering what's wrong with my twitchy character, I moved my monitor that I'm looking at to a different so this is I'm looking at the monitor that I'm supposed to be looking at now, but I'm looking at you chatting over on my old monitor, which I readjusted everything so that I should look at this one, and now the camera doesn't pick me up right over here. It might have been the same thing, because I think I made the soda joke before. It seems familiar. I do that a lot. I repeat jokes a lot. For instance, Moments of Muppy have led to me making mom jokes about every title. So yeah. Video games, VTubers, and cycles. A lot of fun stuff. Is it pronounced Faye or yeah? But if she is, how did you happen? Yeah, I'm going to be stretching pretty thin on the mom jokes going forward, because I'm trying to do this like, 3 to 5 times a week, and it's probably not going to happen. I already missed 2 days this week. Tube baby. It could happen. That could be the future. What if I invented that just to spite everyone? I will invent the tube baby. VTubers don't garner attention. No, I'm out of ideas. 100% out of ideas. So what's going on in Atomicville? You playing anything fun? Playing any of the old Space Marine? Oh, you finished it. Yeah, I heard someone talking about it on YouTube earlier, and I'm thinking of picking up Space Marine 2. I'm not sure, though. You can beat that game in 4 hours? I don't actually finish things very often. I finished... What was the first thing I did? Arafel. I finished Arafel, and it was a grinding, grueling process. Oh, that's just the stream you finished it in. Okay, so... more like a 30-hour game or something. Oh, good. 7 hours is pretty good for a shooter. I tried to go through the original Halo, I think, 1.5 years ago with my brother, and we wanted to do it in one sitting, and we forgot how long that game could be. We were trying to do it on... Was it on Legendary? I think we were trying to do it on either Legendary or Hard. But I gotta start over, because now I want to stream it with Ted Bob, and if I can get Koronic to join us, then we can do that too. Oh, there goes the dog. My obligations, legendary, no balls. That decides, that's probably a good description of my life. Alright, well, I have to go do things. So, I will ditch you. I will leave you standing. And I'll catch you next time. And moms will be aplenty. Peace out. I'm going to get a soda.